presentation of CBC Sports.
Skiers touch down on North American soil as the men get ready to compete in the first Super G race of the season. We're in beautiful Lake Louise inside Banff National Park. The Speed King, it's all coming up on CBC Sports. Hello everyone and welcome inside our CBC studio. I'm your host, Annie Petrillo. Well, you just saw the shot, right? Whether you've been to Lake Louise or not, we've all seen those breathtaking, iconic images. The lake in between the Canadian Rocky Mountains, they stand as the backdrop. No wonder skiers love competing here. The first race was in 1980, and this stop became a mainstay on the World Cup circuit in the mid-90s. But could this be the last year we see races here? That's the word due to financial constraints when it comes to hosting the event. But for Canadian skiers who love to watch the best, there is word that other Canadian ski resorts are interested in hosting the event. But for the here and now, here's who you need to watch out for today. Making a return from Emot Kilday, had himself a year last season, winning the Crystal Globe in both the Super G and downhill. For a second year in a row, Swiss Marco Odermatt had to settle for second in the Super G, but he had a strong year and took the overall title for 2022. And hey, you remember the Canadian Jack Crawford who shaved his mustache after finishing sixth in the Super G at the Beijing Olympics because he just wasn't feeling it. And what do you know? Landed Olympic bronze and Alpine combined right after. For more on today's race, let's check in with Olympian and CBC Sports reporter Kelly Vanderbeek.
Fast is fun. Well, Marco Odermatt and Alexander Emot Kilday, well, they are having a grand old time. Whether I see them in the lodge, on the lifts, or here in the finish area after battling it out on the track, they are enjoying every athlete. But a few other athletes, they're looking for redemption today. Austria's Matthias Meyer finished fourth in the downhill, and he has 6 podiums at this venue, including a Super G win. So he is hoping to step onto that podium. Jack Crawford, after his scary wobble in the downhill, he finished just as much to check out the snow and conditions, so he was ready. And the entire Canadian team has expressed a lot more confidence and comfort in Super G. So they're hoping to make their own fun in the finish. Andy?
Thanks, Kelly, and we're heading back your way. Let's go to Lake Louise for race of the season. Scott Russell has the call alongside 4-time Olympian Brian Stemmel.
1988, not far from here at Nakiska. This is speed with a twist, literally. The velocity skiers can achieve rivals the downhill, but there are more turns to make. Suffice it to say, the Super G has a lot of moving parts, and a lot can happen on a course like this. These skiers can make it happen. Italy's Dominic Paris, the Dominator, Super G World Champ in 2019. Marco Odermatt, last season's overall World Cup champion, has hit the podium in his first 2 races this campaign. Alexander Emot Kilday of Norway, he won the downhill today. Past champions of the Super G, presented by Mackenzie Investments, proud sponsors of Alpine Canada. The last 3 editions have the great Norwegian Kjetil Jansrud winning twice, Matthias Meyer, the defending champion. Here's the Viking with Kelly.
It's a little bit intimidating, but also nice to get through it, and to win it is beautiful. And today, you know, a new chance, new possibility. Of course, still some pressure, but also I know my speed is there, so just follow my plan, and then I think it's going to be okay.
You know what I admire about Kilday, and I'm sure many people admire Brian, is his sense of composure and sense of calm. Not easy when you're a speed racer.
No, it's not easy, but he's found a nice balance between trying to get back in it the next day, because you can't get too high because you have one race right after yesterday's win, and watch out for today. He's always good in Super G as well.
Well, they've had some snow, clouds in and out, but visibility is good, and we're ready to go racing with the Super G. First out of the gate, Blaise Giesendanner of France.
And here we are in the Super G. Starts about 700 meters down from the downhill start, so 2.3 kilometers long. We'll have to negotiate 45 gates. There's 38 in the downhill, so you can tell in Super G a few more gates on the same hill, just set a little bit differently, and a few more turns. And so much terrain. It was really bumpy yesterday. Coming through upper wee waxy flats into the big turn they call Coach's Corner. Nice big sweeping turn over the waterfall. And this is where it gets really interesting right here. A couple of quick zigzag turns, a jump in the middle of it, then you have to negotiate a round net turn. There's that big sweeping 2-gate underneath gate, and then straight down fall away. 4 big turns down here. You get going really fast, extremely steep. Get going into gun barrel through this section. 121, almost as fast as the downhill yesterday. Saw 124, 125 on the downhill. This coach, the Austrian set this course, Coach Sepp Brunner. Remember, the athletes have an hour and 15 minutes to side slip, down slowly, inspect this course. Oh, the sun's out at the bottom. That's what's the deal with the weather yesterday. It was in and out, snowing this morning. Track's not quite as polished as it was yesterday, but looks like a good set from the Austrians and a decent run from the attacking Croissants. The Frenchman sets the pace.
Love it. The attacking Croissants. Blaise Giesendanner, a former World University champion who was 4th in the Super G at the Olympics in 2018. Brian, yesterday, one of the favorites in the downhill, Dominic Paris, had a little misfortune.
Yeah, his ski popped off, binding pre-released. And he was telling people afterwards he's never had that happen to him in a World Cup race. Sometimes you just get in the wrong position and that binding clicks off, and it's like a flat tire in a car. You have to pull over and see what he's got today. I hope those bindings are cranked up just a little bit more.
All right, here he is, the big man, Dominic Paris of Italy. They call him the Dominator. 21 World Cup wins, 17 of them are in the downhill. But he was the world champion in the Super G in 2019 in Åre, Sweden.
Just attacks with such ferocity every run. Really aggressive. Noticed him look ahead there at the next gate. Looks like it's going to be a nice turn too. In the course this year. See his skis coming off the snow quite a bit, a lot more than normal. Guys need to try and keep their feet on the ground in this section of the course. Nice little switch there through Juniper Crossing. Actually, they open the gates, open the fences at night so animals can come through there so they can still pass through. Remember, we're in Banff National Park here in Lake Louise, so they have to be considerate to some of the animals that are around that need to get around and find some food, so they open the gates there at Juniper Crossing so wild animals can veer back and forth.
Speaking of wild animals, this guy plays in a heavy metal band, and when he skis, it can be thunderous. Dominic Paris of Italy to the line, and he will take the lead by nearly 3/4 of a second over the Frenchman Blaise Giesendanner.
Good run after yesterday, and now he can just click out of his bindings gently.
The veteran German 36-year-old Romed Baumann. 329 World Cup starts and counting.
Grunting his way down, still got that young look on his face. Imagine debuted in 2006, November 25th, just a couple of days ago. 16 years ago, incredibly still around. Men, remember, switched countries from Austria to Germany because the Austrians, they had such a good team, they didn't really support Romed, and then married his girlfriend. And he's had more success as a German athlete.
Boy, did he ever at the World Championships in Cortina, silver medalist in the Super G.
just ripping every gate, getting so close to those gates. Sometimes you just want to brush them a little bit because when you're going at this high speed, they can hurt, that's for sure. Or a little bit of padding in Super G, but not too much. Don't want to be too bulky to have those aerodynamics hinder your speed. But he's skiing really aggressively.
9/100ths off it at that last split. Baumann to the line to attack Dominic Paris and gets him into the green pipe. A slim margin, 1/100th of a second, Brian.
Well, yesterday he was slow at the bottom, dropped about 3 places down there, but he's got the fastest bottom time so far. If you notice those sector times off to the right of the screen when they cross the line, it gives you an idea of how quick they are. Proud.
Back to the Super G at Lake Louise, and here is Alexis Pinturault, the 2020 overall World Cup champion, the most successful French World Cup racer in history, even better in terms of results than the great Jean-Claude Killy.
Just such a phenomenal skier, great technician. Look at that perfect tuck coming right at you. He came here mostly for Super G. The coaches told him he was welcome to ski and train in the downhill if he wanted to try and qualify for a spot, so he accepted that challenge. And Frenchman, a young Frenchman, didn't ski that well yesterday, but oh man, that was nice. Beautiful soft landing. Look at this guy dangle through here, going really fast, but such precise edge work. Straight down waterfall, pick up a lot of speed. Let's watch him through here. Just really smooth. 0.65, big lead so far, but remember, it's early.
Making the turns at high speed, such a great technical skier. 34 World Cup wins. Many of them have come in the giant slalom and in the combined races.
I enjoyed hearing him breathe through that section of the course, through Claire's corner. Just try and relax and be as smooth as possible down at this flat section at the bottom, down Easy Street.
Alexis Pinturault of France, 3-time medalist at the Olympic Games. He's into the lead by a quarter of a second.
A little slower at the bottom, but watch this. Lifts up his heels and lands delicately down on that steep part. That was gorgeous.
Well, the overall World Cup champion and current Crystal Globe leader, 25-year-old Marco Odermatt of Switzerland. Last season, he recorded 7 wins. 2 came in the Super G. None was bigger than this one on home snow at Wengen in January. The Swiss love their Alpine superstars. They love classic wins. Odermatt also captured the historic GS title at Adelboden last season. And here he is, Marco Odermatt.
Raced in his 100th race yesterday and ended up 3rd. The overall champ from last year is really the guy that everybody's watching out for. I love the way Pinturault skis, but Marco Odermatt just might step it up a notch.
How about his podium percentage? 100 races, 31 podium finishes. Not bad, 1 in 3.
Wow, that is just so good. Very smooth, but really forward on his skis, and you have to be. Sometimes when you get going at high speeds, you really tend to sit back on your heels, and that can be dangerous, but he's really charging everything forward, and that's what you need to do to be fast. Wow, 3/4 of a second. This is good. He was telling people he enjoys the downhill here more than he does the Super G, but he might be liking the looks of his time right now if he knew what the heck it was. Now 8/10.
Just cranking it. You're seeing the best skiers on the planet, and this guy is on top of the heap. Marco Odermatt of Switzerland, attacking the time of Alexis Pinturault, and he's caught him by a ton. 1:39. How good is that?
Wow, I thought Pinturault skied well, but Marco Odermatt just picked it up. Look at him catching flies, mouth wide open, but has the line perfectly over waterfall. And he knows that was really good. No mistakes whatsoever.
Representing Switzerland, Stefan Rogantin, 28-year-old from Lenzerheide, skied the Super G at the Olympics on the Rock at Beijing and wound up 14th.
Noticed a bit of a tailwind there, it looked like. That can be good for Stefan. He's been fast in training throughout the summer. That's what the Swiss coaches have said. So let's see if he can translate that into a good Super G result. Only 19th yesterday, but his coach Reto Nadiger said, in training this summer, they used a system basically called a gas pedal training. And where was that gas pedal pushed in training on certain runs? So they had to have some tactics. They wanted to find different training runs with different gas pedal positions. So sometimes it was only half, sometimes it was 3/4. And when you get on race day, it's got to be full throttle. So it's that training that helps you have a good balance of where to be, because sometimes in Super G you can't risk a whole ton, but you really have to have that gas pedal floored.
Rogantin gets to the split, and he's 123 off and hasn't got the speed he needs at the bottom of the course.
Well, the coach has said it was teaching him to be tactical and deliberate, but Marco Odermatt's got such a big lead. That's going to be tough to catch. Look at that, he's in second, but 1.3 back.
Just ahead of Alexis Pinturault of France.
Looked pretty smooth. I'd say that gas pedal was maybe 80%, 85. He knows he has more in him. That was a good start to the Super G season.
Swiss veteran Mauro Cavitino skis the GS on World Cup. He was injured and missed the 2022 Olympics and all of last season, but he was the Super G Crystal Globe winner in 2020, so he's got the talent in this discipline.
Well, this kid's just a genius as a skier. Really knows how to carve those skis, and yeah, had a severe concussion. They called it a brain injury right at the beginning, but then put it back to a severe concussion. Left him with double vision, and had a really emotional time last year, roller coaster, because he couldn't just find his health, but now he seems to be back at it. Sometimes he says when the light gets bright and then dark again, it makes his eyes tired, so I think he's still dealing with some issues. Whoa! Jeez. Oh, man. Oh, I can't even look. Oh, goodness. And you just hate to see that with any racer, but somebody who has had susceptibility and concussion symptoms before, that was really tough to watch. Caught an edge right at the steep part onto the flat, and that's when your skis get a little bit light. They seem to separate, and it looks like he was out pretty quickly.
You saw the reaction from his teammate Marco Odermatt, the leader down at the bottom of the course. Here is another look.
Yeah, just when you come down here, get a little light in the edges, and yeah. Wow, just... I don't know if he was knocked out at all. Just kind of had his arms tied behind him. Didn't really seem to hit his head severely, but man, my old teammate Kerry Mullen will tell you, it doesn't take you much of a knock on the head to get knocked out once you've had a bad concussion.
There's Odermatt on the radio telling his teammates up top what's happening. Matthias Meyer, the defending champion of the Super G, waiting to go here. Well, there is a hold-on course with Switzerland's Mauro Cavitzel down. We'll take a break and return to the Super G at Lake Louise in just a moment. Well, standard procedure for a skier who has crashed at Lake Louise with a suspected injury is to have the skier airlifted off the hill and examined by medical personnel. let's hope for the best for Switzerland's Mauro Cavizzo. Back to the start hut now. And onto the course with Matthias Meyer of Austria, who is the Olympic Super G champion. Not once, but twice.
Yeah, amazing. Defended his title in China. Won 3 Olympic gold medals in the last 3 Olympics. That's incredible. This guy just got iced in the start because of Caviezel's fall. So he's had some time to think about this. Run was going really fast yesterday up top, 136.99 kilometers an hour. He had the fastest time. Ended up 4th yesterday in downhill, but whoa, look out. Taking a leap of faith off waterfall. That was lovely. Doesn't look that smooth. It's kind of lost a little bit of the rhythm through that section of the course, but still has pretty good speed. .93 back. That'll get him into 2nd place, but that's a long way back for the Olympic champ.
Matthias Meyer has never won a Crystal Globe in any discipline. Big game skier. Always a contender, it seems. Meyer of Austria. Odermatt has the lead and still has it. But Meyer tucks into 2nd place, 3/4 and more back of the Swiss skier.
Well, it's always tough to be in the starting gate and hear that helicopter come in. You have to take your skis off, put your warm-up clothes back on, and then wait. And that may have affected Meyer.
Talk about ending a drought with a bang. Norway's Alexander Amot Kilde has skied on World Cup for a decade, but until yesterday had not been on the podium at Lake Louise. In a dominant fashion, the attacking Viking won the downhill, his 14th World Cup win. Now he's trying to double up for the 3rd time in his career. He won both the downhill and Super G at Val Gardena in 2020 and at Beaver Creek last season. Here he goes. Alexander Amot Kilde holds the hot hand.
Oh, that was rough. Down tickety shoots. You pick up so much speed really quickly. Over 100 kilometers an hour in 15 seconds. Look at this guy, just so much power. Said he felt really good in dryland training this summer. Remember the year before he'd been injured, so didn't have a good full summer of dryland training, but he is just in phenomenal shape right now. Brimming with confidence after that win yesterday. 13 times the Norwegians have won here. And a whole bunch in Super G.
And his compatriots, Kjetil Jansrud and Axel Lund Svendal, have turned the speed double at Lake Louise. Svendal's actually done it twice.
Right, that's true. I'd forgotten about that. So yeah, Kilde maybe go for back-to-back. Only 600s out, really good. Now we just got to breathe a little bit, try and relax. Oh, a little wide. Coming into Claire's corner. Can't ski a wide line, it's just a longer line down to the bottom and you will lose more and more time, but he's really gritting this one out.
Two Titans going toe-to-toe on Canadian snow. Marco Odermatt, Alex Amot Kilde, and Kilde is 2nd, so Odermatt survives that challenge from the Viking.
There's a little bit more of the friendly rivalry.
Odermatt sitting in the hot seat right now.
It's going to be a great rivalry all season long. Two of the nicest guys on the tour. We need a villain in there, Scott. We need a bad guy.
I don't know. These guys are really going at it. Alex Amot Kilde, Marco Odermatt. 1 and 2. Vincent Kriegmeier of Austria, the world champion in both the downhill and the Super G at Cortina. And only Hermann Maier and Bodie Miller of the United States have done that.
Well, the Austrians always play good villains, don't they?
Sure.
Kriegmeyer wasn't great yesterday, only 11th in downhill. He was 45th at the top and quick at the bottom, so made a little mistake yesterday, and this looks much better from Kriegmeyer today. Whoa, until I spoke a little bit too soon. You can hear him working like a tennis player, grunting it out. How about that Canadian Davis Cup team winning the Davis Cup?
First time in history.
Not the greatest result for Canadian soccer today, so let's hope the boys here at Lake Louise, the Canadians, can help make everyone feel better in Canada. For now, it's Kriegmeyer, the Austrian Sportsman of the Year in 2021. Fast again at the bottom. Well, not quite enough.
Won the Super G Crystal Globe that year. He's outside the podium today in 4th spot.
Fourth by a third. Killed in second, and Odermatt sitting in third place.
No, not normally what we see from Vincent Kriegmeyer. I'm a little bit surprised, but that's where he made the mistake coming over Waterfall, but it's a long season. First race of the season, and there's the friendly rivalry.
Yeah.
Mistake because he had such good training runs, was really feeling it. Now has to deal with the soreness as a result of that little slip.
Jack Crawford, you know, had a breakout season last year. Of course, he had the Olympic medal in the combined. He got onto the World Cup podium for the first time at Kvitveld. There are expectations now, right?
Yeah, which is great. I think there should be, because these guys know that they belong. They know that each one of them are good. They're like a band of brothers, their coach John Kachera said. They're a really tight-knit group. A lot of them from the Whistler Mountain area. Jack spent some time there after moving out from Ontario. And they really have all grown up together and have had success. And that's the big thing. You have success, and now those expectations rise, and they rise on their own. So Jack really believes he can do it himself. Just a matter of putting it together, and skiing really nicely so far. Maybe a little wide through fishnet, and that's going to drop him down here on fall away. Got a lot of support out here in Lake Louise.
I mean, at the Olympics, he was absolutely fantastic. You talk about 3 top 6 finishes. He was 4th in the downhill, he was 6th in the Super G, and then he breaks through in the combined event with that bronze medal. First Alpine medal by a Canadian skier since the 2014 games in Sochi, when Jan Hudak won a bronze in the Super G.
Well, really life-changing for him. Only 4th Canadian skier, male skier, to ever win an Olympic medal. His Aunt Judy told him not to be 4th because she was 4th in Sapporo, and he stepped it up a little bit. Not the greatest today. But yeah, just made a few mistakes. You can just see if this guy's not in the top 3 anymore, he's going to be shaking his head, wondering why he can't be there. That was the problem right there through fishnet down fall away, and good looking slick helmet.
Well, there's crazy Canuck Ken Reid. In 1978, Scott Finley suffered a traumatic brain injury at the Canadian Championships held at Lake Louise. He spent the rest of his life living with the results. He remained resilient and a big part of the Canadian ski community. The inspiration for Finley House, the Napanee acquired brain injury and rehabilitation home. Scott passed away last week in his 66th year. His strength became an inspiration to all who met him. Scott's funeral is tomorrow in Napanee, Ontario.
The Lake Louise
Push for better.
Back in Lake Louise as we await 7 more Canadian skiers. Let's get to Kelly Vanderbeek, who's with Olympic bronze medalist Jack Crawford.
You know, you've hit a new level when you make some mistakes and you're still ending up in the top 10. Jack, can you talk a little bit about the pieces of the puzzle that you think will have to come together for a podium?
Just a few execution pieces. There were a couple mental errors out there today where maybe nerves got a little bit the better of me, but all in all, the skiing's in a good place, and I think with a run that not even is perfect, I can still do some damage, and today the mistakes were just a little bit too big.
Thank you.
Very analytical guy. All right, here we go with the Canadians. 30-year-old Trevor Philp, originally from Toronto. We know him better as a technical skier, Brian, but he's taking a look at speed.
I had the luxury of skiing yesterday in the downhill for the first time in a long time. He's been down this track before, but I think it's a bit of an eye-opener for Trevor. You're going 130 kilometers an hour in downhill. You're not used to going that fast in GS. He's got those great GS skills. Watch this turn here. Stands on that left foot. Just brings it around beautifully. Whoa, look out! Oh no, he went right through that blue panel. Wow. I think he's okay. See some of that fresh snow from last night off to the side of the course, but he didn't have the proper direction, going off waterfall a little bit too far to the left, not far enough to the right, and hooked a gate. Man, he went down really hard. Here it is right here. He's in the air and he sees the gate going, oh no, I'm going to go right through it, and that's what happens. And just isn't able to regain his balance and hang on. Saved it pretty nicely. It's not too hard to fall.
Able to ski out Trevor Philp of Canada. Here's Broderick Thompson, the 28-year-old from the Whistler Mountain Ski Club, younger brother of Marielle Thompson, the ski cross champion. He was part of that breakthrough last season, third in the Super G at Beaver Creek, his first World Cup podium.
And yeah, just skiing a little tentatively. You saw that yesterday as well. Just doesn't quite have the confidence going at the beginning of the season like some people would like. He was slower up top yesterday, then quicker down at the bottom. Sun coming out is going to help. See those ruts a little bit easier. Maybe see him pick up some time at the bottom. Skiing a little more controlled this year, but it's only the first race of the year. Remember, the races in Zermatt earlier got canceled, so, and the first Super G, that's decent for Broderick.
Canadians keep on coming. Kyle Alexander, the 23-year-old, also from the Whistler Mountain Ski Club. He's the younger brother of Cam Alexander, who had a big win at Kavittville last year. Whoa, he's way wide.
Yeah, he's way wide. There's just a little inexperience right there from Kyle Alexander. His brother's still out with a knee injury. Kyle had surgery on his arm last year. Took a little longer to get back, and that's a little bit of a mistake that he's going to regret later watching video.
Brody's. He was so close at the World Championships in Cortina. He was fourth in the Super G.
Brody to make one of those breakthroughs onto the podium. He's capable of doing it just like the other Canadians. People always ask me who are the Canadians that are coming up, but I always tell them about Brody Seeger. Just skis with such great skill and technique. Find a little bit more speed somehow. His coaches will help him do that. Just want to give a shout out to Serge Dugas, who's been their coach since 1990. Celebrated his 71st birthday on Friday in Lake Louise, so happy birthday, Serge. You've brought these guys up and showed them the way, and thanks for helping all the Canadians out, especially me over the last years. He's a big Habs fan. Well, I don't hold that against him, but Serge is a great guy that can teach Brody how to get in there. Look at this, 11. Well done. Look at the bottom, 9th down there. Excellent.
Yeah, he was top 10 at the Olympics in the combined race along with Jack Crawford. Finished 9th in that race. Jeffrey Reed, the son of the crazy Canuck Ken Reed, who we saw earlier.
Jeff was in the points yesterday. Dropped some places down at the bottom and lost a little bit of prize money. Remember, they're going for $50,000 for first, 22 for second, and if you finish 30th, you make 500 Swiss francs. So Jeff had a fall in the first training run, some scratches on his face and a little stiff and sore, but he's a competitor and back at it. This is where he's got to hold up that time, and if these Canadians get in there, get some points, they'll have better start positions going throughout the year, and looks like a good run from Jeff. Father Ken and Aunt Linda, or Mother Linda, will be happy.
Jeff Reed, 20th right now, 167 back, looking at points again today. Riley Seeger, the younger brother of Brody, making just his 17th World Cup start.
Almost made the same mistake as Trevor Phelps, but had it lined up perfectly. And he does ski a lot like his older brother. Good skill as well, a little low. Same mistake as Jack Crawford. So yeah, these guys are inspecting the course together, learning together, and see what that interval time says. That's good. That might get him into the top 30 if he keeps it up down here. Good for Riley Seeger out of Montana State and the Bobcats.
A little bit of snow beginning to fall as the late racers come down at Lake Louise. Riley Seeger keeps it dialed up.
Well, this is where he has to try and find some speed down here at the bottom flats. Takes some time to learn how to have those gliding skills on the flats. He's the NORAM GS champ. Guarantees him a spot in World Cup GS, so you know he can turn. What's the time say?
196, 27th for now. Skiing with bib number 55. Good run for Riley Seeger. 25-year-old Sam Mulligan out of Grouse Mountain. At the World Juniors in 2018, he was 4th in the Super G. The guy that won that race is the guy that's going to win this race, Marco Odermatt of Switzerland.
Yeah, Sam would really have to pull one out of the hat here to upset Odermatt. Had some problems yesterday. It was really flat, light, and bumpy, and it's just the same today, so it's not fun when you're racing this far back. He had enough near misses yesterday that he just pulled off the course and said that was enough. But I've been speaking to some people who are in the know, and they said one of Sam's greatest strengths, he cares a lot about people and his teammates, his coaches. He's just a really nice, funny, honest kid, but is really caring. So it's good to have that group of kids, that band of brothers that John Pichera talked about, really helping each other out and sincerely being happy when they succeed, because you know when your teammate succeeds, you're probably going to be next because you're eating the exact same schnitzel as he is.
Yeah, I had a talk with John the other day. He said, we're a community of skiers, one for all for one. The Kinder Canucks, 9 of them today in the race. Final results presented by Tech Resources, proud sponsor of Alpine Canada. Marco Odermatt of Switzerland on fire again, his 2nd win of the season. 3rd podium finish. Alex Amott-Kilday misses the double by 37 100ths. The 2019 champ, Matthias Meyer, is 3rd. Top Canadian is Jack Crawford. He's top 10. Brian Marco Odermatt, the Olympic champion in the GS, but this weekend at Lake Louise, he's proven he can live comfortably in the fast lane.
Now his 5th Super G win, and he just seems to be doing it all. And if you want to learn how to ski, kid, watch this kid go. He's just so smooth and confident. Not the biggest guy in the circuit. He was pretty bulked up today with the pads underneath that suit, but number 6 helped him.
Super G standings after the first race. Marco Odermatt is on top with 100 points. Last year's Crystal Globe winner Alex Amott-Kilday is next. Matthias Meyer is 3rd. Here's Kelly with Marco Odermatt.
I'm going to have to call liar, liar, pants on fire on Marco. You told me you prefer the downhill over the Super G. Has that changed now?
I'm not sure, but it definitely could show a good run, nearly a perfect run from my side. But it's always, races like this are always a little bit strange when teammates crash really bad. So I'm sorry for Mauro, and so in days like this, the result is not the most important thing.
Well, good luck moving forward, and please send our best to your teammate.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. The overall World Cup standings for men are presented by Mackenzie Investments, proud sponsor of Alpine Canada. It's turning into a two-skier race. Marco Odermatt, last year's overall World Cup champ, now has 260 of a possible 300 points to lead. Alexander Amott-Kilde has 180. Matthias Meyer of Austria is third with 110. All right, here's a look at our podium, Brian. Matthias Meyer continues to shine for Austria, known as a big game skier. He's proving to be a constant contender.
Nah, he's one of the greatest. It's the most veteran. Talked about it being his last year, but it's too fun, and be too fun standing on the podium all the time too, I would imagine.
Alex Amott-Kilde just missed joining Kjetil Jansrud and Axel Lund-Svendal in sweeping the speed double. But Marco Odermatt is amazing. 25 years old, now 13 World Cup wins, 8 in the space of a calendar year.
No, just a fantastic race for Marco Odermatt, and off we go with a friendly rivalry.
Oh yeah, Odermatt.